Hi everyone, today we are going to be playing around with a whole lot of makeup. Some of it's brand new, some of it's slightly older, but regardless of whether it's new or old, it is all affordable, and hopefully by the end of this video I am going to have a beautiful face of makeup on. I am not in the mood for any failures today. Just be warned. This is the start of a very long week for me. This is the week before I go away on holiday with my family, so I do have something to look forward to at the end of this week, but I am bulk filming this week and I need my roots done, which also puts me in a little bit of a bad mood. So all my pre-filmed videos that are going to go live whilst I'm away on holiday will have this situation going on anyway. Hopefully you will be able to put up with it because I'm not having my hair done until after I've finished filming, which is sort of the wrong way round, but it is what it is. Let's get started. If you're new here, hi, my name's Gemma. I upload new videos here on YouTube every single week. I would love it if by the end of this video you found it helpful or entertaining. You come and join the Pampered Wolf Pack by clicking on that subscribe button, the like button, and the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. So I've already done my brows off camera. You've seen me do them a million times before, and I've just applied some of the Beauty Bay eye base to my lids to prime them, to get them ready to receive some beautiful eyeshadows that I have just recently bought from Revolution Pro. Now these remind me of the Natasha Denona mini palettes. There are 5 shadows in each palette and there's some lovely colour stories. I think there's about 6 of these to choose from. I've gone for the palettes Weekend Ready, Love Yourself, and also No Regrets. So the Weekend Ready one I actually bought for my mum. She actually saw this on the website and thought that was a little bit of her. These are more purpley tones, and with her having green eyes, these will really make her green eyes pop. I then got the palette No Regrets, which is slightly warmer toned palette with browns and golds. That's a real little bit of me. And a slightly cooler toned palette, Love Yourself, which has some pinky neutrals and also some browny golds, but more champagne-y golds in there as well. So I think I'm going to use Love Yourself today because this is the one that I feel would appeal to all of you the most. Let's get some of this on. These are the perfect size palettes for traveling, and I don't like to take massive palettes with me when I'm traveling, not only because it's bulky and it takes up too much space, but also because I get slightly overwhelmed with the amount of choice that is available and I just want to keep it simple. But at the price point of these, it's slightly easier to buy a selection of the palettes so that you have more choice, and they're really easy to store because you can just stack them up rather than having one huge palette. So let's go into this shade here, which looks like a really nice transition shade. I haven't even swatched these, so I have no idea what the colour payoff's going to be like. That's actually decent. That's really quite nice. Let's hope these blend out nicely. So far, so good. I'm then going to lighten that off slightly and really blend it into that inner corner using this lighter shade, which I thought would be slightly too light for a transition shade, but actually that's really pretty. So maybe I'll use that as a transition shade next time. The colour payoff from these shadows is really good. I always find Revolution and Revolution Pro and all the other sister companies that Revolution have a little bit hit or miss with the quality of their products. I'm not complaining with these. These are really lovely. They're not as creamy as the Natasha Denona palettes, but you know, with the Natasha Denona palette, you're paying maybe 3-4 times as much as this. So these are slightly drier, but they are just as easy to blend out. With the Love Yourself palette, you get 2 mattes, 2 metallics, and 1 shimmer metallic, which is soft and creamy. And I've just swatched it on the back of my hand and it is like, oh, I have to use that shade. But not all of the palettes have that sort of variation in. So the Weekend Ready palette actually only has 1 matte in here, and then it has 4 metallics. There isn't a shimmer metallic in there, I don't think. No, there isn't. And then with the No Regrets palette, there are 3 mattes, 1 metallic and 1 shimmer metallic, which again is just out of this world beautiful. So I'm going to take the fairest of the metallic shades on a flat brush and pop that nearer to the inner corner, just to add a little bit of light to the inner corner of my eye. That's quite nice. Usually with these sorts of shades I would apply them with my fingers to get a little bit more payoff, but I've got pig's trotter fingers. I'm really clumsy. So beautiful. Then I'm going to take the darkest metallic shade on the same brush, which is my Refer 28. And I'm just going to dot it on that outer corner, just to add a little bit of extra dimension. Now these metallics have slightly less colour payoff, so you do have to build them up slightly. If I was applying them with my fingers, I think I would probably get more colour payoff, but like I said, very clumsy. And then finally with my finger, I'm going to take some of the really soft shimmer metallic. Look how beautiful that is. And I'm going to press that in the centre of the lid. So pretty. Seriously pretty. Once those are all in place, I'm just going to blend everything together from the outer all the way to the inner corners. So are these the best palettes I've ever tried? Of course they're not, but they are a fraction of the cost. They've got really good colour payoff, they blend out really beautifully, they've got lovely colour stories in each and every single one of the palettes that I've chosen, and yeah, really affordable. I love the soft shimmer metallic. I think that's really good quality and it looks stunning on the eyelids. So by the time I've done liner and I've got mascara on, I don't think you're going to be able to tell the difference between these and the seriously high-end palettes. So I've just added a little bit of eyeliner to my top lashes. The one that I've used today is from Rimmel, and a little bit of colour corrector underneath my eyes to cancel out my dark circles, and I've used a Revolution one today. Whether I'm trying makeup on camera or off camera, I am going to try and keep it as affordable as possible, and I will link all the products in the description box. Let's move on to foundation. Everybody seems to be talking about this on TikTok and Instagram at the moment. It's a brand new foundation from Revolution and it's called the IRL filter, in real life filter, I believe that means. Don't quote me on that, I might be getting that completely wrong. I've gone for the shades F1, which is fair neutral, and also F5, which is fair to light with slightly warmer undertones. I may have to mix the two. I've got no idea what shade I am in the Revolution ones. It tends to change depending on what foundation they bring out, so may have to mix them, but we will see. Yeah, I've got a feeling that F1 is going to be way too fair for me, and F5 is going to be slightly too dark. So yeah, we are going to end up mixing the two, but let's see. This is a really thick, moussey consistency, so I may have to apply this with a sponge to shear it out a little bit, otherwise it might look a bit heavy, but we will see. This is supposed to give you that filtered look. So I'm trying to mix my shade on the back of my hand here, which I know doesn't really help you all that much, especially those of you who are my shade twin. I've added more of the F1 than the F5, probably 2 parts F1, 1 part F5. And I'm just gonna dab into that and see, whoa. That's a lot of coverage. Let's just try and shear this out a little bit. That is coverage. That is a lot of coverage. So at the moment it's looking quite heavy. I'm not sure I like this, but I don't really want to make an opinion. Yeah. It's not really filtering any of my texture or pores out at this moment in time. I was hoping for a little bit more airbrushing, but we'll see. When it dries down, it may surprise me, but yeah, at the moment it's showing every single bit of texture that I have on my skin, every bit of dryness that I have on my skin. Okay, so I'm not sure this sort of foundation is meant to be for me, but now it's drying down, it's sort of airbrushing slightly, but I'm not sure I like it on my texture. It's a little bit too heavy looking for me. I think I've done a decent enough job mixing my shade, but yeah, not 100% perfect. I don't like it. I don't like it. It's just, I think I'm gonna have to, in future, if I do use this, mix it with a little bit of moisturizer. It's pretty much dried down already, so if you're wanting a foundation that is super coverage and also probably transfer resistant, you may have luck with this one. But yeah, it looks heavy. It looks heavy. It looks really heavy. Okay, let's conceal my under eye circles and then I might start feeling better about the overall look. You never know, it might just all come together at the end. Here's hoping. I have the Maybelline Superstay Activewear 30-hour concealer. I've spoken about this on my channel before. It is very, very similar to the KVD Beauty Good Apple Concealer. So if you've always wanted to try that, but it's slightly out of your reach price-wise, highly recommend getting your hands on this. So I'm going to use the shade 10. I'm not applying this directly underneath my eyes. I'm applying it to the back of my hand first, and then I'll go in with my finger and just press that into the skin. If you want a little bit of extra coverage, leave it for around about 30 seconds before you blend it out. I'm always really impressed with this. I think it gives great coverage. It's also really, really lightweight. It definitely does the job. It's really good. This also really dries down quite quickly on the skin. It's a self-setting concealer, so if you don't like using powder underneath your eyes, you may love this one. It does have quite a high alcohol content though, so if your under eyes don't cope well with alcohol, probably not for you. So now I've got my concealer done, I'm just going to tap the corners of my eyeshadow to soften the edges a little bit and just blend that down, make it really melt into the skin. So I'm going to go back into the Love Yourself palette, into this shade here, and just smoke that out underneath that lower lash line. And then just soften it off a little bit with the paler shade. Curl my lashes. And I'm going to add a little bit of the Maybelline Sky High mascara just to coat those lashes a little bit. So I've got to say, the longer this foundation is on my skin, the more I'm warming to it. It's giving me Estee Lauder Double Wear vibes. So if you are a huge fan of Estee Lauder Double Wear and you're wanting to economize a lot because this is so much more affordable, you may want to give the Revolution IRL filter a little bit of a go. I think I was just shocked and taken aback by the amount of coverage that I got straight out of the gate, but the more it's on, the more I like it. This definitely has its place in my drawer. So I'm going to add a little bit of dimension back to my face. I'm going to be using the NYX Matte Bronzer in the shade Light. Now, I'm not sure, do they do a fair version of this? I really don't know. This is not a cool tone bronzer like I would usually go for. It's got more of a ruddy undertone, so more red than orange. I'm hoping this is going to give me those summer vibes of I've just been out in the sun a little bit too long, but I've never tried this before, so time will tell. So I'm just using my BK Beauty 107 brush to just stamp this in place before I start blending it out. It's definitely warm, but it is a bronzer. So, you know, I'm going to give it a little bit of time for me to come round to it. Maybe I'll warm to this just as much as I've warmed to the foundation. We will see. So it's not really the correct undertone for contouring, but you've got to try these things. I'm giving it a good go. I can always wash it off if it doesn't work. So it's definitely given me those holiday vibes, that summer glow. I've not paid any attention to blending this in yet. I'm going to do that during the buffing technique a little bit later on. So don't worry about the whole patchiness of the bronzer situation. Trust the process. Let's add a little bit of blush to this look. This is from NYX. It's one of the Sweet Cheeks in the shade Summer Breeze. I think this is such a beautiful shade. Tap a little bit onto my brush. These are super pigmented, but again, trust the process. I'm not worried. You shouldn't be either. So I'm just going to tap that on where I want it. And I'm even going up to the corner of the eye because I really want to give the look of a really lifted eye. So I completely get that I look like a clown at this moment in time, and there is no way on earth I would ever go out like this. However, I'm going to take my 03 brush from Refa and a little bit of my Halo Glow setting powder from e.l.f. and I'm going to use this as more of a finishing powder because it has that slight bit of radiance to it, which I find really, really flattering. So a little bit in the top of the lid, and then I'm really going to swirl my brush. Now you don't really need this much powder. You can use the tiniest little bit. Knock off the excess. And then I'm going to go in and swirl and use the buffing technique. I've been asked to show this time and time again. I can never remember which video I actually did it in, so I can't ever point you in the right direction, but I do it all the time. This is one of the techniques that I use every single day in my everyday makeup routine, and my mum uses this as well. So it's literally a case of, and you can hold your brush right at the end so you don't get very much pressure on the skin, just swirling the brush around all your products to blend everything into the skin. And if you need, you can add a little bit of extra powder as and when you feel you need it. So you can do the buffing technique for as long or as little time as you feel is necessary. It doesn't really matter. And if you feel like you get that powdery residue on the skin, a little bit of setting spray or finishing spray will sort that out. I'm gonna go into lips and take my NYX lip liner in the shade Mauve. And then I'm going to add some of my Future lipstick from Beauty Pie in the shade Nude Blush. These are so creamy and hydrating. So that's the finished look. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. I have changed my mind about this foundation so many times during a very short space of time. It's now going quite drying on my skin, so it's a product that I probably won't be using again. The bronzer as well, probably won't be using it again. It's the wrong undertone for me. It's a warm undertone, and although I am more dominant warm, neutral undertone, I prefer a cool tone bronzer, and that definitely isn't this. That's not the product's fault. That's my fault for buying it in the first place. But yeah, it's probably a product that I won't reach for again. The eyeshadows are lovely. They're not as nice as the high-end ones I have in my collection, but they definitely do the job. I don't think you would notice once they're on the eyes. It's just the application process that is slightly different. I do like the blush though, and I'm loving the lip combo. I also really like the mascara. So a little bit hit and miss with this full face of affordable, but do have your say. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful in some way. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye everyone.